Yes. Kind of got an interesting deal today. My friend Steph McKenzie, who's much more attractive than me, will join us in the first segment, talk Raiders. Vinnie Bonsignore will join us, hopefully, and then some other cool stuff. Well, let's see. Let's see what we got today. How's everybody doing in the chat? There we go. Felipe, you're the first. We're going to start giving out, we got to give out some stuff. We got to build this thing out a little bit more. I was sitting on something sharp, and it was a golf tee. That would be it. All right. March Madness. I like March Madness a lot. Mostert to the Raiders is a good player, man. Anybody ripping on the Raiders for getting Mostert, you don't know what the hell you're talking about. Now, he's got to stay healthy. The guy had 18 touchdowns 2 years ago, not 7 years ago, 2 years ago. And I talked to my source in Miami. He's 100% healthy. So, look, I hope Zamir White comes back and plays, man. I went all in on him. Hill got the extension. Aiden Hill, Bobby, 6-year extension. 6 years for a goalie. Wow. Well, no, he's a good goalie. He's already got a cup, but a goalie 6 years. I like it.
He had a nice shutout yesterday.
Yeah.
Going up against Columbus. I don't know.
We got a Petrangelo goal.
Yeah, months ago. Well, Petrangelo was an empty netter. It was a cheap.
I got a long day today. I'm going to be the MC for the Max Crosby Foundation event tonight at Allegiant Stadium. And they're honoring Mark Davis for all of his philanthropy, the money that he has donated here in Vegas, which is kind of nice. Mark wants to win, but it's also nice when you have an owner who's as generous as him. Oh, we're also looking for Raider free agency grades. We got a couple of wackadoodle Raider fans who are very upset that we didn't get their favorite players in free agency. Watch out. All right, and what else? Walked the dog today. Got a good workout in on the Peloton. Need to do more of that. What else did I do? Had a coffee meeting with our sales guy, and I've been up since 6:05 this morning. And it's a bucket of Modelo Fridays.
Years. JT the Brick Show, broadcasting live from the Philly Cadillac Performance Studio. For 25 years.
Open at the 35, racing to the 20, 10, touchdown Raiders!
And now, here's JT the Brick.
Out of the gate, JT with you as we kick off Friday, Bucket of Modelo Friday. And you can watch the show because I'm going to have the beautiful Steph McKenzie, one of our program directors. She's going to join me in the opening segment of the show right now, and you can see and watch the show on YouTube for free at JT the Brick YT. We're building it nice, one brick layer at a time. They get into the show about 5 minutes early, an added bonus, and they help me build topics because topics are a big part of this deal we do every day. Is my goal every day when I wake up for radio is to come up with topics that don't waste your bleeping time. I work in an industry now with writers, producers, comedy writers, and I always say, if your radio show in sports is so funny, why are you doing sports? Go to the FM dial. I mean, Bobby, how many FM stations do we have in this building? Like 4 or 5?
4.
Yeah, 4. Go be a morning zoo guy. You watch a lot of sports radio, you listen to it, and they're not talking sports. Well, I like to talk sports. Bobby, that is the last of a dying breed. Sports talk radio talking about sports. But we loosen it up here. We let callers come in here and sound off like they got up here. We talk about things in the community. We have Johnny Katz on entertainment. I talk about Sphere and all of the concerts that are in town and all that. But my goal every day is to find something worth talking about that you'll listen to. And not listen to me as the authority. I'm no authority. What am I an authority of? I just run a fast-paced radio show. But I think I got good access to the NFL, the Raiders, the Golden Knights. They just signed their goalie to a 6-year extension. Wow. 6 years for a goalie? Sometimes they pull a goalie in a game. The goalie's playing so bad they pull him. But we got a good one here. But the topic of this week was NFL free agency. The topic next week will be March Madness, as the Fraternal Order of the Men of Khaki Pants are coming to town. I saw a little bit of them yesterday. Thanks again to the Thomas and Mack and LV Events for having me out there yesterday. So March Madness is massive next week for us because our whole city is dominated by college basketball in the tournament. And it's going to quiet down for the Raiders. It's going to quiet down because we're going to have windows where it gets a little bit quiet, and I got to bring everybody back to the show and talk about other sports topics. But this week was really easy for me. It was a busy week. We had 2 national shows, some really good guests, but it was NFL free agency. We are still waiting for Aaron Rodgers. I mean, this guy's an egomaniac. Remember, over the last 2 to 3 years, I would have loved, not liked, loved him to be the quarterback of the Raiders. I love the ability of Aaron Rodgers, and we didn't get him. Okay? It had to do with his age. Does it have to do with his ego? Doesn't have to do with his arm strength, I can tell you that much, or accuracy. He's a really good player. But I think he's kind of so dramatic that why would an old GM or a new GM want to be associated with Aaron Rodgers? That's a good way to screw up your legacy. Your first big move is Aaron Rodgers? Oh, boy. Good luck. Now, if Aaron was 22, you can ride that legacy to the Hall of Fame. But Aaron in his 40s, and we are still waiting for his decision on Friday, where reports are that it's between the Steelers and even the Vikings are jumping in. We had Kevin Seifert on yesterday from ESPN who covers the Vikings. I think the Vikings and the Raiders are now going to be joined together as a topic because Geno came to Vegas and Sam Darnold went to Seattle. We will easily be able to tell who got the better end of that deal in 2 years. Easily. Either Sam Darnold is going to take Seattle farther than the Las Vegas Raiders, or Geno is going to take the Raiders on an unbelievable path with Pete Carroll to the playoffs, and Seattle won't. So I'll be sitting here and saying, okay, we could have had Sam Darnold. We didn't. We didn't get Sam. We got Geno. And in Seattle, they're going to say, why didn't we keep Geno? We got Sam, and we're in trouble. So you're going to be able to tie the Seahawks and the Raiders, and we always play them in the preseason, and there's good connection between the 12s and the Raider Nation as we get rolling with that. So with everything happening here, today we're going to get your opinion on how the Raiders did in a week of free agency. They're not done. They're not done. But I've been hearing through the outlets and other people that a lot of bloggers, a lot of YouTubers, right? I'm not the only guy on YouTube. There's guys in Raider Nation that have much bigger YouTube shows than I do, but they don't have a bigger radio show than I do. So I got to catch them on YouTube. It's going to take me a while, and they're very good. But the YouTubers are upset. A lot of people are upset because they didn't think that John Spytek did enough. And that's the focus of the monologue brought to you by PTs. They fuel the monologue, 5 to 7, midnight to 2, the best happy hour in town. What is enough? What did John Spytek, Tom Brady, the coaches, what do they need to do to satisfy the Raider Nation? Well, I'm an expert on that topic because I'd be the first to tell you. If I was sitting down on 60 Minutes, the TV show, and Scott Pelley said, what satisfies the Raider Nation? I'd be the guy to ask because Raider Nation hasn't been satisfied in over 20 years because the Raiders have not been productive and haven't won a playoff game. So Raider Nation is, man, they are ready to bite. They're ready to fight. They want to get some wins here. So what'd you want to do? Win free agency? What'd you want to do? What'd you want to do? Spend all the money in free agency and get who again? Who didn't the Raiders get? Well, I think that they're really sharp on who they're getting here. They're getting bigger, stronger, and more physical. Let's throw that out and clip that from my show and put it on the websites. What did the Raiders do this week? They got cheaper. They didn't spend a lot of money on these guys, but they got bigger and stronger and more physical guys. Now, I'm not going to say they're hungrier because Robert Spillane was hungry, and I thought Trayvon Merrick was hungry, and Nate Hobbs, when he was healthy, was hungry. We don't disrespect players when they leave. Even when I tell you Devontae quit, which is a fact, he quit on the Raiders, that could never be argued, never. But I wish Devontae well. He's going to play great with the Rams. Oh, my God, he's a great player. Covering Devontae here, some of the catches he made, but I got to call it as I see it. So Raider fans this week, you saved a lot of money. And people saying, well, why didn't we spend it all? You don't do that as a business. We got new business partners in the building, everybody. We got a brand new GM. We got Tom Brady for the first time looking at the budget because he's an owner. He's a minority owner. He's not a consultant. Okay, he's part of this family going forward. And they're crunching the numbers on players. And as I told you, they had to get rid of a lot of these players. A lot of these players weren't Pro Bowlers. They weren't elite. They were good to above average, but they weren't different players because they evaluate differently. So that's where we stand today as I bring in Steph McKenzie.
Hello.
Who is what are the titles now? Program director, rock jock, philanthropist, podcaster.
Yes, big podcaster.
Mom.
I love my mom.
Yep. So all of that. How are you? I know you're wearing
Good.
Raider
Hi,
gear.
everyone.
Look at the Raider shirt you're wearing today.
I know, my sweater.
Okay. Is that new from the Raider image? Did you pay for that? I could have got you the JT Raider discount.
You know, you always say that, but
Yeah.
every time I reach out to you, I can never find you. You're like on vacation when I go shopping.
Yeah, I need to hook you up with some gear. So tonight I'm the MC for the Max Crosby Foundation.
I'm so excited
Yeah,
for this.
this is
and
big.
for you.
Yeah, it's a Max chooses me to do this, and it's at the Legion Stadium. Last year it was at UFC headquarters in the Octagon. Now it's getting bigger, and they're moving it to a Legion Stadium. But you were listening to the show, and I always appreciate that. And you had something you wanted to say about Max Crosby because you live here and you're a diehard Raider fan. And I'm trying to connect with everybody because Raider Nation doesn't think we spent a lot of money yet. And I said, wait a second, we extended Max Crosby and gave him $91 million guaranteed.
Yeah, and you know, another thing is that I think that, can I go with the pros and the cons of all of it,
Okay.
right? So at first I love how he all of a sudden has been compared to Howie Long because of the greatness that he's bringing. What did I say on day one when he came? Just like Howie Long. That's my favorite player forever and ever. That's my dream to interview Howie Long. I love Max. I love what he's done personally in his life. I love how he's cleaned up his backyard. I love what he does for this community. He's got a youth football camp he's getting ready to do this summer. And then he tattoos himself. We're just going to start there. We're not going to talk about the money. Look at his tattoos and what he has done. He has said from day one, once a Raider, always a Raider. He is a Raider through and through, and he always has been. And everyone was like, he's leaving. He's too good for the Raiders. They can't have him. First of all, to get a tattoo removed is very painful. Let me tell you, I've been there and done that.
Well, you've been there and done that.
Yeah,
Okay.
that was very painful. That will
Okay.
never happen again. And by the way, I love tattoos. I have a lot of them, but this was a particular one that had to be removed. Second of all, he is a Raider. He loves being here in the organization. He loves this town. He has such a big heart. He gives back to so many charities. And I just get sick of people hating just on him. Why are we hating? If you're part of the Raider Nation, you could be upset. Quit hating.
So you think that there were some fans who thought and bought into this national media that Max could go to Detroit, Max can go to Buffalo.
He's going to his family. He's going back home.
Yeah.
He's leaving.
Yeah, you didn't hear that here, but I know you're around town and you talk to a lot of Raider fans. So you're excited about this Max extension, which was a big part of free agency. During free agency, before it, they had a press conference and made Max Crosby the highest paid Raider of all time by a lot. Normally that's a quarterback. So I think that's a part of it. Now I'm going to bring you to Geno.
Okay.
So I was never a massive Geno guy because he didn't play.
Right.
He's a backup in the league, but I have a lot of respect for what he did in Seattle. So all the women in Summerlin swooned when Jimmy G got the job.
Right.
All the Real Housewives of Summerlin went crazy when he got the
that's
gig.
true.
Then we had Gardner Minshew, who had a mustache, and he played the part of a Raider. Now he's with the Chiefs.
I know that really just freaked me out.
I know that drives you crazy. I could care less. I could care less that he's with the Chiefs, but he's there. Now we get Geno Smith, who's one of these redemption stories as a backup, left for dead, goes to Seattle. You know, he has more wins in the last 3 years than Baker Mayfield, Matthew Stafford, Joe Burrow. He's won more games than them. So I look at Geno, 70% completion percentage, really good with good decisions. He'll throw an interception here or there. But I think we have finally a quarterback that we can go into the preseason. And Aiden O'Connell's good.
And what about the rapport, with the coaching
Yes,
staff,
you
bringing
nailed
all
it.
of this in and the cleaning up? I mean, that makes for a big thing too, as well. Look what we have had to deal with in the past 2 years
Yes.
with Pearson, what he was handed. I will always love Pearson, think he did a good job.
Same here.
He was handed something and did the best, if not most amazing thing. Not a great winning season, not everything that as a Raider Nation you want to see, but let's look at other parts of the puzzle of what happened, right? And so I'm excited for this.
Yes. Now you despise the Denver Broncos,
Yes.
the Donkeys, and the Donkeys might get Cooper Kupp, which would be kind of interesting. Maybe the news will break or not. But I don't think that we beat Denver 8 in a row before we just lost 2 in a row.
Right.
But now we have Pete Carroll and Tom Brady in the building, and I think we can reel the Broncos back in. I don't think the Broncos now are going to go on a 4-year run where they sweep the Raiders. And the same thing with the Chargers, who lost Joey Bosa, and they've lost some players there. They got Justin Herbert, who's really good, but he can't win in the playoffs. We're not. And then Kansas City.
I was just going to say, I don't think the dynasty of the Chiefs is there anymore.
Yeah, dynasty of
I
the
don't
Chiefs.
think so. I think they have too many things.
Can you say that in a promo in 3, 2, and 1?
Dynasty of the Chiefs
Is dead.
is dead.
Thank you. I don't think they're going to win another Super Bowl soon. But
No,
they can they can regroup in the next year or two. But they're doing what the Niners are doing, but the Niners are doing it more dramatically. The Niners are getting rid of everybody because they made big runs at the Super Bowl. Kansas City, I think, has done their contracts a little bit better. So you are not concerned about Raider Nation tracking down the Broncos.
No, I am not concerned about that one bit. I think that, again, with the rapport of what you're doing and what you're seeing on the offseason of the coaching staff, Tom Brady in the building, them bringing in players, who they're looking at, we can speculate all day. But, give it to Pete, man. He's a good dude. He really is. He's healthy. He loves the game.
Loves to work.
He loves to work. I love his press conferences so far. He wants to win as well. And he's been given a fresh start. This isn't a situation where he's taking over a team or something. Right. Oh, gosh, sorry. Where something's already happened.
Steph McKenzie's in studio. Catch her with all the work she does. Tell everybody the time of your show.
Yeah, make sure you listen to 97.1 The Point. It's KXPT, Monday through Friday, 6 to 10. But I got to tell you a good story. Do I have time to tell you a real quick story? So here I am at my son's basketball game at our school, okay? Sitting in their small school. We go to a private school. We're sitting in there. I have to get up to go to the bathroom, and guess who walks past me? Antonio Pierce.
Ooh,
I almost died. I was a fan geek. JT, it was just this week. I was freaking out. He was sitting right in front of me in the bleachers, right? His kid was on the other team that we were playing. Wow, we're undefeated up until this game. I used to like Antonio Pierce. I say joking, kind of, until his son was manhandling my son. So now, you know what? I don't like him, and I'll see him in the playoffs.
Oh, you're going to get a second chance in the playoffs.
You wait, Antonio. I'm coming for you.
There's a new station in the cluster I'm hearing about.
Yep.
You know what? Hold on. You know when I go, these listeners get on me when I dress up for the rodeo. Once a year, I put on cowboy brick, the hat, I get all the, I get the gear on. But we had a new country station.
Yep. You're going to be able to tune in. It's coming. Yeah. Come on, JT. Let me hear it.
You.
Yeah.
What's the name of the station?
It's going to be on KXPT HD2. So it's going to be on HD, and you'll be able to stream it. It's Hank FM.
Hank FM. And you're going to be a part of that too?
In a boss way. I'm bossing it up over there.
Let's do more of this Raiders content today.
I'm coming in strong. We're getting close.
You're the best. Thank you.
Love you guys.
Have a great weekend. Any rock in town this weekend? Any rock and roll?
No, but it is Dee Snider and Brett Michaels' birthday tomorrow, just FYI. And Cinderella's coming to town too.
Last thing before you go.
Tom Kiefer, from Cinderella. We got to be clear on that.
Last thing. I secured my AC/DC tickets.
Are you so excited?
Well, we're in the process of me getting my money from my friends to Venmo me because I didn't need to take out a mortgage.
Right, exactly.
But it was close to 2 mortgages.
Will we
go see AC/DC
April 26th at Allegiant Stadium?
They have. This is going to be unbelievable.
I cannot wait for this concert. And then a week later, you know who's coming? My boy Jelly Roll. You're going to be there.
At
You want to go?
Allegiant
Let's
Stadium,
go.
too?
Yes. With Post
It's
Malone.
going to take me a week to recover from
Yes, I
AC/DC.
know. Make sure, I am not kidding. If anyone is going to ACDC, I'm telling you, please, please, please. I know you might think it's old people thing. You have got to wear earplugs. It is the loudest concert I went to. I was third row at MGM with earplugs.
Can't do it. Well, here's why. I want to hear the music. I don't want to hear my earplugs.
No, you won't hear. Get good ones. I promise you. I had earplugs. Best show I have ever been to. They have a blower that comes up in the crotchal region, which is funny. We did behind the scenes tour, which is one of my favorite stories to tell. I'm like, does that really? Oh, it really does. Okay. And they really have it on tour to help them cool down.
Wow. I saw them last at Coachella when they came back, so I can't wait for this show. Good to see you, my friend.
You're welcome.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank
Have
you.
fun tonight.
Yes.
Go Raiders.
Yes, she is, Steph McKenzie. She was in the hallway, and I said, it's Friday. I got nothing to talk about other than Raider grades for free agency. So she was a lot of fun, and she's got a really great career. She is the top rock jock in all of Las Vegas and for over 20 years, so we appreciate that. All right, back to our topic today. Our topic today is simple. And Vinnie Bonsignore just texted me. Vinnie Bonsignore is confirmed at the bottom of the hour. And then Jason Horowitz next hour. So you want to get in today, 702-365-9200. You have the opportunity to be openly critical on the flagship if you don't like free agency. I don't know why you would hate it. I mean, the guys they brought in, I think all are here for a reason, but you lost Spillane and Merrick, and you lost Hobbs. Okay, so when you lose a bunch of players, I like Mostert because I think Mostert's healthy. When guys are healthy, guys like Raheem Mostert, if he gets hurt playing running back, oh boy, he's hurt. How many games he's going to be? I said 100% healthy. He led the NFL in touchdowns 2 years ago. Is he going to be better than Alexander Madison? He better be. Alexander Madison was a good player. Amir Abdullah, good player. Raheem Mostert led the NFL in touchdowns, including wide receivers. He led the league. So if we can get 2/3 of his touchdowns or half his touchdowns, a lot of people are asking me, what about Zamir White? I don't know. I went all in on Zamir White in Costa Mesa. He didn't play well. I think it was because the offensive line wasn't healthy in Costa Mesa, so they never got the offensive line going. You had Gardner Minshew. The focus in Costa Mesa training camp was not Zamir White. It was the fact that Aiden O'Connell was competing against Gardner Minshew, and neither one of them played well in camp. Geno's going to be great in camp, assuming he's healthy and everything's good with Geno. Do you understand what training camp's going to look like with Aiden O'Connell backing up Geno Smith and Aiden coming in, getting reps with the first team, or when giving Geno a break, and then Geno coming in and Max Crosby won't be able to wreck the practice, destroy the practice, which he did because the quarterbacks couldn't figure out Max. That was the dirty secret at the last training camp. No one could stop Max in practice, and everybody went there to watch Max. No, that's about Geno. Geno running the practice, changing the plays. Okay, it's a different practice. Not that Antonio Pierce and Josh McDaniels ran some of the greatest practices of all time, along with Gruden, because they were savants with the playbook, and they knew what they wanted to run. Pete Carroll's going to run everything differently. Pete's pace competition is more intense, but it might not be every day. Maybe they get an extra day off. I don't know. Maybe they do, but when you practice with Pete, it's much more competitive, with all due respect to the other coaches, because Pete Carroll's legacy is competition at practice. So he's at the Mount Rushmore of that. Okay, Belichick, Bill Parcells, Pete Carroll, they were different at practice. And that's what's going to change. And hopefully that'll affect some wins and losses. And remember, everybody, this has got to affect wins and losses. Because if it doesn't affect wins and losses, then what are we talking about? Okay, this isn't, man, it's going to take a couple of years to turn this around. No. You haven't heard that from anybody. You haven't heard anybody say, man, this is going to take some time. This is going to take more time. Of course it's going to take some time, but no one's going to be on record saying it's going to take some time. Are you kidding me? We've been waiting 20 years to win. We've been waiting over 20 years to win a playoff game. So there's no, this is going to take 2 years and we're going to get this. We need another draft, another free agency. No, it's time to win right now. And if you don't love the players, don't worry, they're going to get more. The one thing I did tell you too, a couple of things I told you, but the thing that I think I've been pushing hard the whole time was that I think the draft's more important than free agency. I've always believed that the draft is more important than free agency. But even the players that we're drafting who are good are gone. Trayvon Merrick, Nate Hobbs, Josh Jacobs, all the guys that we're drafting, Hunter Renfro's out of the league, Damon Arnett out of the league. I mean, how do you got first-round picks who are out of the league? They're not even playing in the league anymore, and we just drafted them. Right? So these guys are going to draft better players, hopefully, and the players are going to be here for their second contract. So I believe that this is going to be very important. Adam Schefter reporting, former Raiders assistant GM Champ Kelly, who was interviewed for multiple GM jobs across the league in recent years, has agreed to join the Dolphins as a senior personnel executive working in both pro and college scouting. Congratulations to Champ, one of the best people we know. See, we can wish people well. It ended here. You got John Spytek. Now you wish Champ well, and we go from there. So no one on hold yet, huh, Bobby? They're waiting for me to wrap up the monologue, 22 minutes of this with Steph McKenzie. Okay, got Vinny coming up. Anybody out there want to sound off on the Raiders for a week of free agency? You can give it a grade. I saw a report card today from Yahoo, gave the Raiders a B. They handed out D's, man. Giants, D's. The Raiders got a B. Losing Spillane, Hobbs, and Merrick, they got a B because of Jeremy Chin and some bigger cornerbacks and bigger guys. Vinnie Bonsignore is coming up here in about 5 minutes, and he's going to tell you about the new philosophy of this team, the new philosophy of what could happen here and what could happen with bigger, stronger guys. Man, I covered the Legion of Boom. I did a lot of Legion of Boom back in the day with Cam Chancellor and the guys that they had on the back end. They were bigger, stronger, and more intimidating. You remember, if you're an old school Raider fan, Jack Tatum, the assassin. Right. George Atkinson was not a big guy. People were in fear of him. I think that Pete Carroll wants to put a little bit more fear in the secondary, where guys come down and crack people as they come over the middle of the field, and they look at them and go, yeah, that's new Raider football with Patrick Graham and Pete Carroll. We are going to kick ass. We're going to be more physical. We're going to be more energetic and angry during the game. And we're going to turn the ball over more. But he doesn't have some of the great players. Richard Sherman. There's no Richard Sherman in his prime in the building. But that's Pete Carroll to develop some guys there. So that's where we are. If you want to get through today, Friday, busy show. Tonight's the Max Crosby Foundation Gala over at Allegiant Stadium. And they'll be honoring Mark Davis for his work with philanthropy in town. That's a great honor for Mark. You know, Mark's been with a lot of groups in town even before the Raiders got here. And he donates a lot of money. And I know that he donates a lot of money that people don't know about. That's a side story. But tonight, Max Crosby is going to pay tribute to Mark Davis at Allegiant Stadium, as he'll be our host. And Rachel will be there, Max's wife. And they got to be feeling pretty good, man, with that $91 million guaranteed. Since I last saw him at the Commitment to Excellence Awards, and the fans were going, "Don't leave, Max. Don't leave, Max." Max is going to be pretty good right now. I think Max is going to be phenomenal. And you know who's going to benefit the most? All the foundations that Max and Rachel happen to work with. So I am here by my lonesome. I don't have any clappers. I don't have 6 co-hosts that I have to introduce, or 2 or 3. It's just me. You know, Bobby's here. Bobby's there in the background. We stay here during the breaks on YouTube if you want to get in here. And then we're going to get rolling. Big night tonight. We got March Madness coming up around the corner. You know, this garbage. You're not allowed to say Super Bowl. You're not allowed to say March Madness. Oh, give me a break. Give me a break. Say, okay, the basketball tournament's coming to town. If you're going to go over, UNLV lost yesterday. They lost to a better team. Yeah. I could do 6 hours without a commercial, 6 hours without a break on why Logan, Utah State's better than UNLV. It drives me nuts. Yeah. Okay, I can see, man, like how Denver, Colorado can be better, or Fort Collins close by. But how in God's name does Logan, Utah State have better players than we have here on the Vegas Strip? I think Kevin Kruger's a heck of a coach. X's and O's guy, Kevin is strong. There's been a lot of rumors this week about UNLV's money. They get plenty of money, okay? But someone, and it won't be me, has got to unearth why we have money issues in this town when it comes to college athletics. I don't get that. This is Las Vegas. There are billion-dollar casinos, and I know public casinos aren't going to donate money, public casinos that have stocks that trade on the market, but there are a lot of rich people in town here that need to help out that program. But that's for another day. Ooh, Golden Knights win in a shutout and signed their goalie long-term.
Yes, they did.
All right. Thanks again to Steph McKenzie, Vinnie Bonsignore. And Vinny's really important here because Vinny has been diving into these signings. So I'll pick Vinny's brain on the new philosophy of Pete Carroll and the players that were brought in. We're brought to you by Resorts World. Head on over there for the madness. All right. I didn't get a home or sell. You want home or sell?
I got home. I texted it.
Oh, good. Okay.
You want me to play that Schneider cut you sent me?
Yeah.
John Schneider,
Yeah, but I got to throw to it because people won't know who it is.
Oh, okay.
Like, people can't come out of breaks hearing people they don't know. Okay. What's up, chat? We got 102 in the chat. That's always cool. Nice to see 100 people live viewing because a lot of things with this YouTube is more people view it after it's over than view it live. So I appreciate the people who are in here live. Thank you for that. Thank you very much. Everyone hit the like button if you can. Also, a pretty funny story that I'll share with you. If you were on our live stream last night, Bobby, you'll get a kick out of this. Reggie Jackson called in while I was in the middle of the Looney podcast. So I put it up to the microphone, and I wouldn't have done that unless I knew it was Reggie. So that was pretty fun last night. And Reggie's coming out for this event tonight, which is cool. So we had fun with that. Snow Raider. It's snowing in Tahoe. It should, man. It should be snowing in March. Golf weather. Dubs are rolling. Hey, Big D, I can't like your Dubs because I don't like Jimmy Butler, who quit. If I'm saying Devontae quit on the Raiders, and Jimmy Butler not only quit, he tried to bring down the heat, and he did it to Pat Riley. I do not support the Dubs with Jimmy Butler. I like the Dubs with Steph, and when they had Clay, I'm no problem with the Dubs. I'm not a Dubs hater. I'm a Knick fan. But Jimmy Butler, I thought what he did in Miami was pathetic. He quit on the Heat, just like Harden quit on the Rockets. So believe me, I could care less about the Dubs with Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler got rewarded for poor behavior. Bit harsh there, but I believe that. Luka looks like he's getting in shape. Yes. Rings by any means necessary. That's a good way of looking at it, Big D. I'm a Yankee fan. I think we have 27 rings, most before I was born, but they all count. James Foster says the Raiders will finish ahead of the Broncos this year. I would hope so. That'd be good. Steph is better than whoever you mentioned, so I will leave you at that. Yeah, LeBron's getting a little break before the playoffs. Getting a little break. Pat says, how am I feeling about the drafts? Who's my number one? My number one's either T. McMillan, the wide receiver out of Arizona, or Aston Genty. I'm good with either one of them. And if they're both on the board at 6, I would trade down and get one of them. Okay, Vinny's on hold. Vinnie Bonsignore. If you have a question for Vinny, you can put it in the chat and I'll ask it to Vinny. Bobby, I'm hosting Mad Dog Monday and Tuesday of next week, so we might put an interview in here.
Right. And then Wednesday is going to be the thing at the Hard Rock?
Wednesday, we're at the Strat.
Strat, okay.
Yep.
All right, here we go. Vinny's all set.
10 casinos across the valley. Don't let the game get out of hand. Please bet responsibly. Welcome back to the JT
Show. Brought to you by the DeCasta Verde Law Group. If you get injured in an accident, call 702-222-9999.
I say I'm on cloud 9 right now. It's definitely a great feeling, but I want to say it's any anxiousness, more excitement, and just get ready to get going and just trusting people around me and just taking one day at a time.
Malcolm Coons, turn it up. And as Steph said, we're brought to you by the DeCasta Verde Law Group. The brothers win. The brothers have your back. I was texting with Alex. They have a new commercial, the DeCasta Verde brothers TV commercial, where they're running up a mountain. Two brothers running up a mountain. I don't know if that mountain is close to Red Rock or is it in Henderson. Maybe I can find out there. Brothers win. The brothers have your back. Great to have Vinnie Bonsignore on. We usually have him on Wednesdays, but we get him today, and we are thrilled for that. All right, Vinny, I've been reading a lot of your content. Do you believe that this is a new era of a style of defense now that Pete Carroll's been involved with these decisions on the new players?
Yeah, and thanks for having me, JT. Appreciate it. Just eyeballing the new players yesterday over at the facility, Lonnie Johnson, Eric Stokes, Jeremy Lin in particular, the defensive backs. They're kind of prototypical Pete Carroll defensive backs, long and lean and powerful, play with a certain edge to them. All three of them are over 6 foot tall. So if you go throughout Pete Carroll's histories at USC and in particular in Seattle, that's kind of what he looks for in defensive backs. And it didn't take him long in his first free agency to get exactly the type of players that he's looking for those particular positions.
Well, the cost is interesting because Spillane is gone, a captain on defense, and obviously Trayvon Merrick, who didn't get his next contract. And that's been the goal of every GM, is to retain the draft picks. But I think, especially with Merrick, they just got offers they couldn't refuse. Those teams wanted him so badly, including Mike Vrabel with Spillane, that they got these massive deals. Do you know if the Raiders were close to countering with both those players?
Yeah, I know that they had a certain number in mind for all of the free agents that they were dealing with, and ultimately they weren't going to go any further than that. And good on Robert, good on Trayvon Merrick for getting the deals that they got. Same with Nate Hobbs as well. But you have to play that game sometimes, and you have to be diligent, you have to be prudent, you have to be disciplined, and there's also a comp pick, formula out there. The Raiders are as of right now, they're looking at a 4th round pick and a 5th round pick, for next year, getting comps for the guys that they've lost. So the good teams know when to fold and move on and say, we like you, thank you for your time here. But between the cost of it and maybe some other needs that they need to fill, you have to make some hard decisions. And I know that they wanted those players back, but there was a certain number that they weren't going to go over.
Vinnie Bonsignore is our guest. So very interesting to me, these players that were brought in and the 4 that were introduced, how sought after were they around the league? I mean, I look and say, well, the Raiders got them pretty quickly. So I'm assuming the Raiders had a plan to pivot, just like other teams do. And when those guys were gone, Spillane, Hobbs a little bit later, but especially Merrick, that they knew the players that they wanted to get or had to get before other teams got them. Is that fair?
Yeah, no doubt about it. And I think that's where, I think they targeted these players pretty quickly and made it known to their agents and their reps that they were interested in coming here. And what was interesting yesterday, the feedback that we got from the players that we talked to was, oh, go play for the Raiders, go play for Pete Carroll. And then Pete Carroll gets on the phone, and I'm talking to Pete Carroll, the Legion of Boom. I kind of fit that profile of the defensive backs and the defensive players that Pete had there in Las Vegas. He has a track history or track record putting defensive players in great positions to succeed and utilizing them all over the field. So from that perspective, for the players' perspective, the Raiders made a lot of sense. And I'll say this: these might not be household names, to your casual NFL football fan and Raider Nation in particular. But when you talk about track records and you talk about Pete Carroll bringing in guys that may not be, whether it's in the draft or in free agency, and maybe guys that aren't household names, usually by the end of the day, by the end of the year or middle of the year, these guys, at least for Raider fans, become well-known names because Pete has a history of taking under the radar players and making them very well known to football fans.
Vinnie Bonsignore is our guest. So I am fascinated by Sam Darnold versus Geno. The contracts, the money. And once the contract is announced with Geno, the extension, and when we get the numbers, you won't hear a peep out of me again. I followed this rule for close to 30 years. Once a contract is paid and agreed to, it's none of my business. Then after the player performs, I could say it was worth it or not, but not while the player is signing the agreement. And I thought Seattle got Sam Darnold for a really good price. I thought he was going to be in the 40 to 45 range because Trevor Lawrence is above 50, and there's a lot of guys in the 50s who I think Sam Darnold is just as good at. So as you look to get the announcement and see what Geno's going to be worth, comparing it to Sam Darnold there, seems like Geno didn't want to stay in Seattle and he wanted to come play for Pete.
I think there's a lot to be said for that. But I also think that Geno Smith, and rightfully so, he's a top 15 quarterback, a top 12 quarterback, and has been for 3 years running now. And he should be paid as such. And when you're talking about that level of quarterback, you're talking about north of $40 million. That's just the facts of the matter, and just where the market is right now. And everyone needs to remember that the salary cap keeps going up year by year, and every time it goes up, everybody's pay level goes up as well. So while a top 15 quarterback 5 years ago wasn't worth $40 million, he is now. That's just the bottom line of the situation. And when you put, 5 years down the road, we may ultimately realize that Sam Darnold was the better quarterback than Geno Smith when it all comes out in the wash. But as of right now, this minute in 2025, in March of 2025, it's hard to necessarily justify that when you're talking about a quarterback in Geno Smith who's been top 12-ish now for 3 straight years, and Sam Darnold, who's had one good year, and by all accounts, it was a very good year. It didn't end well, and I do think the ending played into his market. If you would have said 2 months ago, or week 15 of last season, it looked like Sam Darnold was definitely destined for that $40 million range. But then he just had 2 really bad games to end it, and I think that affected his market. So I'll put it this way, and I've talked to people in the NFL. If Geno Smith was a free agent, right, not a guy that was under contract with the Seattle Seahawks, but a free agent with this, this group of free agent quarterbacks, he would literally be the top quarterback of that group. He would be a more attractive quarterback than Sam Darnold, than Aaron Rodgers for various reasons, age being number one, injury, and all that. But he would have been the top quarterback in free agency. It just so happens that the Raiders got him through a trade. But I think it also tells you what they thought of the other free agent options, that A, they tried to trade for Matthew Stafford, and then B, immediately pivoted to Geno Smith.
As you crunch the cap numbers and see what they have left with the Max Crosby extension, what Geno's going to get as we wait for that announcement, has that affected free agency in your opinion?
No, I don't think so. I think that they essentially had money to do almost whatever they wanted to do in free agency. So I think the decisions that they've made have been football decisions more than money decisions. Now, I say that because money definitely played a role in it, where their stop sign was on certain players. They respected that stop sign. They could have easily gone past it and shot through it, and added more and paid for more for Trayvon Merrick or Robert Spillane. But they were disciplined in that. So these were less about the money, because they had the money. The money was available. They were absolutely willing to spend money. It was less that and more about football decisions. So they're in a really good spot as it relates to the salary cap. This could always be, I don't know what else they're going to do. Cooper Kupp is still out there. Tyler Lockett is still out there. We'll see what kind of numbers they end up with and whether one or the other ends up here in Las Vegas. But what they don't spend this year goes toward next year. And, and that's something absolutely to keep an eye on. I think the free agent class next year, as it's projected, is a stronger class than this year. So you always have to be aware of that as well.
All right, last one, Vinny, because I like to save stuff. I don't like to go early, and the draft is coming. We got to fill a month of that, and it's a lot of content. But T. McMillan, the wide receiver out of Arizona, Ashton Genty, you look at a linebacker potentially being there hot, Jalen Walker in these mock drafts. This is going to be really interesting to me because we all know that the Raiders got a little bit of relief with Geno coming in, because if Shedeur is there at number 6, wow. What, that's like my head's going to pop, even if the Raiders pass on Shedeur, because 2 months ago I'd be saying there's no way Shedeur's going to get to number 6. So wide receiver, linebacker, running back, how excited are you for the countdown to the NFL draft in Green Bay?
Yeah, I think it's really intriguing for the exact reasons that you talked about. You don't think that Shedeur is going to be there, but he might. And I guess if he is, we're going to find out pretty quickly what the Raiders kind of, not necessarily what they think of him, but how compelling he is for them to go ahead and still take him, even though Geno Smith is in the building. And I wouldn't rule it out. You cannot discount the voice of Tom Brady in all of this. And so that would be a very intriguing possibility. Another name to put in there is Mason Graham, the great defensive lineman from the University of Michigan. And if you could turn what looks to be, as of right now, assuming that guys come back healthy, Malcolm Kuntz, Max Crosby, Christian Wilkins, and there's no reason to think that they won't, and Adam Butler and, Joanna, the young, defensive tackle that they picked up off of waivers from the Colts, and, Tyree Wilson, who still has a future. All of a sudden, the defensive line looks pretty good. But if you can make what is still a strength into just an elite group with the Mason Graham, that becomes compelling as well. The wide receiver from Arizona, Ashton Genty, it's going to be a fascinating decision for them, but I do think they're going to be in a position of power when that 6th pick comes around, because I think there's going to be a blue chip player available to them.
Yeah, same here. Vinny, let's thank your partners for coming on today. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. If you're in need for some money right now and you're wondering where you're going to find it, lendingstore.com, have their experts help you find as much, $500 to $5,000 in your bank account as early as tomorrow. Just go to lendingstore.com for all the details.
Thank you, Vinny. Talk to you next week. Appreciate you.
Thank you, JT. Have a great week.
You got it. Thanks to Vinny. Always good having him on. Quick announcement. This upcoming Wednesday, I'll be live from the Strat, and I'll kick off March Madness. I do it every year. I greatly look forward to it. The William Hill Sportsbook. The Strat brings in a lot of people for March Madness. And instead of going Thursday when it kicks off, I go Wednesday, the day before that, because that's when their crowds start to arrive, and it's really good. And you can catch all of the March Hoops action on screens in the Strat in their theater. That's March 20th, 21st, and 22nd, or at PT Stadium and View, the lounge, on the 20th and 21st. The doors open 8 a.m. every day. Your tickets will include well drinks, domestic beers, house wine, also non-alcoholic beverages, stadium-type food setups. The food's fantastic there. Raffle giveaways, a cash bar for premium and other drinks will be available. And it's just going to be great. A lot of people are going to be there. Kings of the Las Vegas meet and greet, Larry Johnson, Stacey Augmon, and Anderson Hunt from the 1989-90 UNLV legendary basketball and national championship team. That's what's going to be amazing about this at PT Stadium. 7 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. Every attendee receives an autographed photo and some light bites there and access to the limited open bar. Hey, join me at the Strat. They're owned by Golden Entertainment, our proud partner, PTs. What they do, and they started this a number of years ago, and they redid the Strat. If you haven't been there in a while, you got to go see it. And it's a great place for March Madness when it comes in. When you want to go watch college basketball, it's fantastic. So I'll see you there on Wednesday. Another remote, Bobby. Yesterday we did a remote, and I couldn't hear anybody because it was so loud.
I'm very aware.
It was so loud. We've heard from no one today on the phone lines, right? There'd be no one, like zero?
Vinny.
Okay, just Vinny?
Yeah.
Vinny's phone worked, right?
Yeah.
Good. Good that the phones work. 702-365-9200. People think I care. I don't care. I just like calling out people who talk blank on the Raiders and say the phone lines are open. If you're critical of this class in free agency, where are you? Or if you love the class, let us know. It's not Jeremy Lin. It's Jeremy Chin. For those in the chat there who are wondering. Don't worry. That could be something that could get tripped up on by a lot of people. My conversation with Jason Horowitz will be next hour, and something really cool happened last night again. I'm doing a podcast with my partner, Looney, JT and Looney, the podcast. Reggie Jackson called in the middle, so I didn't stop it. So I opened up the phone and had a little bit of Reggie on speaker because I talked to him a lot. I'll tell you a little bit about that. And reportedly, Reggie's coming tonight. Reggie called me from up north saying, I'm coming to Max's event, Mr. October. I said, ooh, that's a nice addition, including the head coach, Pete Carroll, and Mark Davis and family friends. So that's tonight at Allegiant Stadium. Really excited about that. 702-365-9200. When we come back, what the hell's going on with Aaron Rodgers? What's the decision about? What's he waiting for? Who wouldn't want to play for the Steelers? It was good for Terry Bradshaw and Ben Roethlisberger. Not good enough for Aaron Rodgers? What's the wait all about? He'd rather go to the Giants? We'll get into the updates coming from the NFL insiders next. Yeah, what a good day today, man. Good energy. Vinny was great. Wow. Yeah. Yeah. You're right there.
This to me speaks louder than any of those signings could have.
The Morning Tailgate, weekdays at 7 a.m. on Raider Nation Radio, 920 a.m.
All work and no play makes for one boring ass week. Kick boredom to the curb with ice cold beer, signature cocktails, and the best tavern food in town. Voted best happy hour in Las Vegas, there's no better place to be than PT's Taverns. See you for 50% off drinks during happy hour 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. and 12 a.m. to 2 a.m. daily. With over 65 locations, there's always a PT's Tavern near you. Visit ptstaverns.com to find your favorite neighborhood tavern. Great cities are built on strong foundations.
Good. Okay.
All right, and we're going to have like about 4 minutes.
Okay.
Adam Butler?
Adam Butler, yes. No, Flores, you don't got to put something stupid up like that. So we just, that's what's creepy about when you do this stuff that idiots say stuff like bathroom and do you need a break. So I'm going to put you in timeout because that's kind of stupid what you just said. We'll put you in a little 30-minute timeout. There you go. Oh, March Madness. Yeah, edit out that where I said March Madness and send that to Erod, please.
I'm actually going to do a stack of because he wants a bunch of them like Monday, Tuesday, and this one. I'm going to send them all at once.
Yeah, okay.
And he'll have my one stick.
All right. Tomlin wouldn't put up with Rodgers. Big D. Tomlin's not going to keep his job if he doesn't make the playoffs, man. I mean, I would put up with Rodgers.
You're going to have about 4 minutes.
Okay. Brock Bowers is back at Georgia finishing his degree. How cool is that? All right. Anybody, what else we got to get to? JT, what free agent wide receiver would you be happy with? I don't know. Because the Raiders need a number one. I like Cooper Kupp a lot. It doesn't seem like the Raiders are interested, or he is here. So I can't answer that. But Stephon Diggs would be good. But you don't have to be a one. You could be a two with Jacoby Myers. You can have two number twos If Jacoby Myers gets you 1,000 yards, that's a one. Jamar Chase, when we think of the ones, who is it? It's Jamar Chase. It's Devontae Adams. It's, Justin Jefferson. We're not going to get a guy like that unless we draft T. McMillan out of Arizona. And we don't know if he's going to make it in the NFL. So the ones are all gone. But Stephon Diggs was one of the most dominant receivers over 5 years. So was DeAndre Hopkins. But he's well past his prime. I just want guys who can catch the ball and can get open. But to get a one receiver, a top receiver, there's none left. The only way to get it is in the draft, and that's a risky proposition at number 6. And, we, the Raider Nation, we paid Hunter Renfrow a lot of money, and he's out of the league. Cooper Kupp is an much older Hunter Renfrow who's been banged up a lot. So I don't know if the Raiders are going to, after watching what happened to Hunter Renfrow, an undersized wide receiver in the slot, and Cooper Kupp, much older, I don't know if they want to do that.
Tequila of the JT the Brick Show.
He called me the other day and, and was expressing how glad he was to be able to work out a deal with me, and keep me on the team. And he really highlighted my leadership presence on the team and, just said it was really important to keep that in the building. So I appreciate him seeing that. And, I'm excited to play for a guy like that.
That's Adam Butler. He's back. He can be a really good player. He's developing into a really good player. He's not Aaron Donald, but he's a good defensive tackle. Raiders locked him up. Tito's Handmade Vodka is America's original craft vodka. Tito's Handmade Vodka makes the good stuff for good times. It's my go-to vodka. Tito's could be your go-to vodka. Go to titosvodka.com. Distilled and bottled by Fifth Generation Inc., Austin, Texas. 40% alcohol by volume. Savor responsibly as we wrap up this first hour. Next hour, as I'm here, we're going to play a portion of my Jason Horowitz interview that I did on the free agency show, which is really good. I mentioned Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers getting heat. He's getting heat around the league because he hasn't agreed to terms with either Pittsburgh and the Vikings. The Vikings are a late team here. That the Vikings are potentially interested in him. Why would the Vikings get rid of Sam Darnold for Aaron Donald and then mess with the mindset of J.J. McCarthy? I don't know. But this is going to be very interesting to see what happens here. Kareem Hunt returns to the Chiefs on a one-year deal. And Myles Garrett at his press conference, he was frustrated about winning, but now they paid him and he's happy. It's amazing what money can do. And Gardner Minshew to the Chiefs in a backup role along with Bailey Zappi. Gardner's a really good backup. Gardner came in here because the Raiders needed a potential starter and backup to Aiden O'Connell. And they paid Gardner really a good amount of money, and it didn't work. But Gardner had the best 12 minutes of Raider football last year. The best 12 minutes was in Baltimore where Gardner was great. The Raiders that team was 2-2 last year. 2-2. A lot of other teams weren't 2-2. And then the Raiders, again, they lost 10 in a row. Gardner's play, I thought, deteriorated. He also took a lot of hits. We wish him well. But, man, a year ago, sitting at Media Day and having Gardner on our set, as he's taking his Media Day photos, we just need stability at quarterback in the Raider Nation, man. Come on. Geno has been really stable in Seattle. There's no drama with Geno. It's just he's going to show up like Max really early, going to work, and he's going to be in that locker room, and everybody's going to get behind him and play hard. So I like the more and more as I look at the Geno deal, I understand it. The more and more I get it. And he looks to be someone that's going to work well with Pete Carroll. And we all know that Tom Brady agreed to it. If Tom Brady's agreeing with Geno, I think Raider Nation will get on board behind it. Hour number 2 coming up next, live from Lotus Broadcasting, brought to you by Modelo. It's Friday. Have a Modelo. Or join me for a bucket of Modelos with my friends.
Selection, seatings, and location.
All right, everybody. What a week of streaming. What a week on YouTube. What a week. Numbers are rocking. I'm going to let you guys all have your day. thank you very much. I'm going to do a little bit of JT Friday, Jason Horowitz replay, mix in a couple of live elements here. So Bobby and I will stay here. We'll carry the fort. You can listen at the lvsportsnetwork.com or on the app, or you can listen on the Raiders mobile app. If we go to Max Crosby's event tonight, I hope to see you there. If not, NASCAR's in Vegas this weekend, which is going to be a lot of fun. And then next week, we're going to have a big week. We're going to recap free agency. Hopefully, they're telling me we're going to get a couple players on, and we'll go from there. Have a great weekend, everybody. Thank you. Yeah. Hit that button. Oh, it doesn't want me to go. All right.
Have a call.
Thank you.